Well, I'm not even going to try to follow that act, but we do have a call to action. And Mr. Roberts, I would like you to be part of that. We've got a couple of people who are going to come up. We've got somebody from the front in Wisconsin to talk to us. This is going to be very quick. We've got some press here. We want to make sure that we don't walk out of here. Well, it's clear we're not walking out of here without a call to arms. But we want to make sure we go over this, these 5 points, because I think they're all very important, protecting workers' rights. So today, listen, we heard from health and safety experts, historians, activists. We've looked back 100 years at the lack of health and safety regulations that caused the death of 146 workers. We've heard about daily safety hazards and injuries and deaths for American workers face every single day, and workers abroad. So I feel angry. I feel frustrated, but I'm also ready to get organized. Thank you so much for telling us what we know already, but we needed to hear again. Cecil Roberts, you are a godsend. We have, in this country, I just want to say, we have the most productive workforce in the world. Our workers are 4 and 5 times more productive than workers in any other country. They mine our coal, they prepare our hotel rooms, they make our clothing, but we have a bit of a spring awakening right now. We've got action on the ground in cities across the country. We're fighting the bullies in the state houses. We're going to be calling up Stephanie Bloomingdale, who comes from Wisconsin, AFL-CIO. She's going to talk to us. We have a call to action in your packets. We don't want to walk out of here without everybody knowing what it is that we need to get done. So the first item on the call to action, and I got to say, Mr. Roberts, and I don't understand, after 29 miners die, why that bill sat in Congress, in a Democratic Congress with a Democratic president, and why we couldn't get it the heck out. That is a mystery to me, and it's a national disgrace. So the first point of our call to action is update and reform workplace mine and safety and health laws. Get those laws passed. And we're telling members of Congress throughout these halls, we won't stand still till that happens. Preserve and protect and enhance minimum wage and child labor laws. Pass federal legislation to protect child farm workers. Preserve and protect existing worker protection programs and support the administration's request to increase the Labor Department's budget. And finally, uphold the right of collective bargaining for public and private workers. Support the Employee Free Choice Act. Give workers a crying chance to form unions if they want to form unions. Stop standing in their way. And we need the collective bargaining to include the right for worker to organize and collectively bargain for worker health and safety. For many workers, without collective bargaining, they don't have the right to increase and protect the workers in the workplace. So I think I've covered my bases. I just want to thank all members of our planning committee for the phenomenal job you did, everybody who was here, all of our speakers, and I'm going to turn things over to Eric.
Well, thank you, Sally. Yes, the call to action is a very ambitious agenda, but we need to recognize a couple of things, and you'll forgive me if I'm repeating some of what's been said already, but to get focused. This is a legislative agenda. It's a policy agenda. We're trying to move that in the middle of what our self-described class opponents have called a class war. You know, someone asked earlier today, what's the biggest obstacle to moving ahead? Is it the economy? Is it the meltdown in the economy? Folks, I think the biggest obstacle we face is our own failure, inability, unwillingness to confront the hard choices, make the hard strategic decisions. Was it any easier for our counterparts in 1935, 1936, engage in mass action, the kind of thing Cecil's talking about? Was it any easier for the SCLC and SNCC organizers in Mississippi in 1964? No. It wasn't any easier for them. It was probably a whole lot harder. But they were willing to make the hard choices, figure out a strategy, do it by getting busy, taking chances, which sometimes comes hard to some of us. And then, once we've done that, invite workers in, like the people in Wisconsin have showed us. Invite their families, invite their communities, take some power, move some people onto the street. There's no substitute for that. And we all have a role to play there. So each organization we're from, you know, we have a chance to go back, think about this, and maybe ask ourselves, what can we do differently that's going to move this agenda forward, get us the power that we need, restore the power that we have had in the past. After that, legislative agendas will move a lot faster. Thanks.
Thanks so much. My name is Stephanie Bloomingdale. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer for the Wisconsin State AFL-CIO. And I want to thank you for inviting me here today as I was in town, and it was really inspiring to be with all of you here today. The tremendous speakers on this panel and the organizers of the event and the organizations that put so much time into taking the effort to remind us about what happened that day at the the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Really, you all have provided us with a renewed energy to go back into our communities and go back into our towns and our homes and to organize for workplace protections, but also to organize for union security, for the right to have a union, the right for people to join a union freely, as they should be able to join without threat of intimidation, because having a union is a human right, it's an ethical right, and it's a moral right. And we know from the stories that we've heard this day in this room how important having a union is to our very protection and our very lives for workers. So Scott Walker, on the other hand, in Wisconsin, he wants to turn back the clock on workers' rights. He wants to turn back the clock on workers' rights to a time before the Shirtwaist Factory tragedy. Scott Walker wants us to forget what happened that day. But we will remember. We will remember in this room and across this country. We will remember, and we will not let Scott Walker take away these very protections that allow us to work and have a good life for our family. We will not allow Scott Walker to take away our right to have a union, nor will we let Mitch Daniels, nor Chris Christie, or what's that guy in Florida? John Kasich. Or the other Scott, what's his name? Rick Scott in Florida. We will not let our rights be taken away by any governor, because no governor, not Scott Walker, not any governor, has the right to take away our right to a union. And so we will not let him or any other governor turn back the clock where workers, like the workers at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, suffered, where children, women, and immigrant workers died. And we will not let those workers die in vain, because we will organize each and every day to restore our rights. In Wisconsin, we are at a pivot point. And you've all been following it in the news because you care about these issues. But really, this is the moment of our time. This is the movement of our time. If we don't act now, when will we? If we don't take action now, this moment will pass us by. And so my brother spoke about the need to march, the need to get into the streets. Send your emails, send your faxes, that's all good. Facebook, Twitter, all the rest, it's all good. But if we don't get into the streets, if we don't get into the streets in small groups and large groups all across America, like we have been for the past month, and keep it moving forward, then we will have lost this time. So in Wisconsin, we do have a modern-day arsonist loose in Wisconsin, and his name is Scott Walker. He wants to burn up workers' rights, and he wants to burn up our democracy. But we need a fire brigade. We need a fire brigade in Wisconsin, and we need a fire brigade all across this country. We need to douse the flames that Scott Walker has started. But what is interesting right now, everyone here, and I feel very invigorated, I feel very passionate about the work that we have left to do, because there's a renewed spirit in America, a renewed spirit of people who want to stand up for working people and protect our middle class. But the fire he started is not the one he intended. He has started a prairie fire, and a prairie fire in the Midwest is often a good thing, because a prairie fire allows us to renew the earth. A prairie fire allows us to cultivate new crops. And our harvest is a new day for America. Our harvest is a new day where organizers stand up and organize new people into unions. Our harvest is the movement of our time. And a new generation of union organizers are stepping up in Wisconsin and all over this country to reclaim what it means to be American and to reclaim what it means to have worker rights and a fair economy in our land. And so we're going to make sure that the memory of the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire does not go in vain. And we will win, we will organize, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. That concludes our program.